Realstone. Again, my name is Curtis Underhill. I am a technical sales representative with Laticrete International. We are headquartered out of Bethany, Connecticut, and I reside in Indianapolis. Happy to be back again doing the presentation with Realstone. We've done this before already once and had a great presentation. I would just like to let everybody know, like Rajan said, this is a LEED certified type of presentation, and it is a little bit of script reading. I was talking with Rajan about that as well too. I try to make it as fun as possible while we're all sitting here for the next 45 minutes, but there's a lot of things that need to be said. So if you do have any questions for me, I'm willing to answer all those at the very end. I'm also going to drop some email addresses. So if you had a pen handy during the presentation, I'm going to drop some email addresses that you can reach out to for additional information on LEED certifications and how Laticrete is a part of that as well. Outside of that, my email address is also on here. My phone number is, and I know that a lot of participants are muted currently, but if you do have something that you'd like to address, you can put it in the comments at the end. Grajna will help me read through those and answer what I can, or get back with you if need be at a later time and date. But outside of that, if you guys are all ready, I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation. So this one is called Sustainability in Tile and Stone Installations. It is AIA 7 presented by Laticrete. Again, that's my information on the screen currently. Learning objectives today. So this presentation will address the green construction concepts and challenges and benefits of green construction, as well as what they mean to the tile industry. We will also talk about why the tile industry has to get on board with being green and be at the forefront of moving that forward. This presentation will also address any recent changes to LEED and the Living Building Challenge, and what is currently available as far as information and where to get that information. Understanding the lifestyle and comparisons between tile and other floor finishes, learning how ceramic tiles systems compare with other floor coverings regarding sustainability and environmental impact, and understanding the VOC content in ceramic tile and installation materials. The world's not what it used to be. There's little doubt that design, construction practices, material production has come a very long way over the past couple decades. Buildings are more environmentally friendly, healthier for building occupants, and built to higher construction standards. And really, they're more beautiful and functional than ever. The biggest reason for constructing and renovating a building to a green standard is to minimize the impact of the building, both during construction and throughout the life of the building on the environment and the people in the building, while improving the profitability of the building and increasing the return on investment. So we'll talk about each of those impacts in the following slides coming up. A green building is a building that in its design, construction, and or operation reduces or eliminates negative impacts and can create positive impacts on our climate and natural environment. Green buildings preserve precious natural resources and improve our quality of life. There's a number of features which can make a building green. These would include things like efficient use of energy, water, and other resources. Use of renewable energy, so solar energy is getting very popular now. It has been and continues to get more popular. Pollution and waste reduction measures. So how much are they able to reuse in recycling measures that they take in the building itself. Good indoor environmental air quality, big factor with the world we're living in right now. Use of materials that are non-toxic, ethical, and sustainable. Consideration of the environment in design, as well as the consideration of quality life of the occupants in its design. And then lastly, but not least, a design that enables adaptation for a changing environment. It's been stated that people spend almost 90% of their lives indoors, and that some interior environments may actually be more polluted than exterior environments. Maintaining a healthy indoor working environment is critical to maintaining a healthy and productive staff who enjoy coming to work every day. A building environment that is well designed, nicely decorated with plenty of natural light, views of the outside, temperature controlled, comfortable, and which contains no toxic or harmful chemicals, will not only command a higher rental fee, but it would also maintain a higher selling price in the future. One of the key drivers to having green buildings and green building programs was an event which occurred back in 1976 in Philadelphia at the Stratford Hotel. It actually consisted of the American Legion Convention was there, and they had around 2,000 people that attended. A total of about 220 attendees actually contracted the Legionnaire's disease, and 34 of those people actually died from pneumonia from the disease. So it was determined that the hotel's HVAC system became an ideal environment for growth of the Legionella, which is the bacteria that causes the Legionnaire's disease. And it was an efficient way to distribute the disease throughout the structure, right? So it was coming into every room there. Poor air quality is one of the major causes of why employees actually miss time at work and generally drives production down. Adhesives, paints, sealers, and other materials used in the green project can have an adverse effect on the building's occupants. So using low VOC content and low VOC emitting materials has a profound effect on building occupants and on the people constructing the building themselves. Excuse me. Buildings constructed to a green standard typically have improved air quality because there's no toxic or harmful chemicals or building materials used so that the building's occupants are exposed. No harmful chemicals means that building occupants stay healthier, both short-term and long-term, and miss less time from work. They can breathe easier, enjoy working in a space that is both comfortable and healthier, which makes them more productive and happy in the working environment. Since personnel costs, right, like so salaries, benefits, they typically surpass operating costs, any strategies to improve an employee's health and productivity can have a large return on investment. Good air quality can provide a safe, comfortable work environment for building occupants, and minimizes the risk of building health-related issues. There was the General Services Administration did a survey of 22 of their LEED certified buildings, and they used 25% less energy with a 19% reduction in operating costs when compared to non-green certified GSA buildings. So again, we go back to the adhesives, the paints, the sealers, and other materials used in the green project can have the adverse effect, right? And that just kind of goes hand in hand with that survey that was taken there to actually, use less energy and less reduction in operating cost. As far as the bottom line goes, like owners of green buildings report that the return on investment improved by 19% on average for renovations and 10% for new construction. A study out of San Diego, actually back in 2013, found that overall vacancy rate for green buildings was 4% lower than non-green properties, and these buildings commanded a higher rental rate. So they had people in them, and they were making more money off of that. So. As we mentioned earlier, the buildings are the largest users of electricity, so it only makes sense that saving electricity could also save money for the building owner. Back in 2014, the University of Hawaii actually did a report that their claim was that they saved $3.4 million just in 2014 alone, based on reducing energy usage. It has been reported that the return on investment of green buildings improves by 19%, with lower electrical costs being a large contributor to the savings. Auto shut-off lights are an example of that. Lights operating on motion detectors, for example, low energy use bulbs, best practices for building occupants, and improving the efficiency of the HVAC and the rest of the building's infrastructure to lessen the energy usage. Buildings which meet LEED rating criteria may be eligible to receive tax credits based on federal, state, and local laws as well. Energy credits or income revenue can be achieved if the facility produces its own electricity and sells power generated during times when the facility is using minimal energy, so they can actually sell it back to the electrical grid. Solar and wind electrical generation are two of the most widely used methods of producing electricity on site. So the benefits of a green building, like we discussed, reducing wastage of water, conserving the natural resources, improving the air quality, big factor, protecting the the ecosystems as well, reducing operating costs, improving occupant productivity, the social benefit, improve the quality of life just in general. There's like a number of different building standards and rating systems that are used around the world. But just because of a time crunch here, I'm going to focus on the two that are most commonly used, which is LEED. That's by the United States Green Building Council, and then the Living Building Challenge by the International Living Future Institute. The main focus of the presentation today is going to be on LEED because it's the most widely used green rating system on the planet. While the Living Building Challenge is gaining traction, it's still behind as far as the efforts by the US GBC in terms of total number of products, global use, and just honestly overall acceptance. So the global green building market is forecasted in 2019 to be $234 billion, including an estimated 20% of all US commercial real estate construction. This trend is expected to intensify in the coming years, right? So what we're leading into right now, both in the US and internationally, it has been estimated that the commercial building owners and managers will invest around $960 billion globally now, and in 2023 on greening their existing infrastructure. So they're actually going to be doing a lot of green work, at least what is forecasted on the buildings that are already existing as well too. So this isn't just new construction. Within the top 10 states, just for LEED, there were 1,700 total projects covering 226 million square feet certified back in 2013. So that was just the top 10 states. Globally, in 2013, you had 4,600 LEED certified projects, and they covered around 596 million square feet. So the top 10 states in the United States for this were California, Oregon, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland, New York, and Massachusetts. Since the early 2000s, LEED projects have been applied to approximately 83,000 registered and certified projects worldwide, covering almost 14 billion square feet. The simple answer is that tile is somewhere in the vast majority of these projects, which is where we're leading to, is the tile side products and the installation materials there. In some of these projects, there were huge amounts of tile. So when you add up the total square feet, the total cost of tile, the labor and the setting materials, the potential when referencing 960 billion, that number is enormous. I mean, it's crazy. LEED is the most widely used green building rating system in the world, with around 80,000 projects certified in construction or registered across 140 different countries. As of June of 2015, there had already been 32,500 certified commercial projects around the world. And among all LEED projects, there have been around 4 billion square feet installed, as estimated there. It's my understanding that the individual countries have some ability to customize the LEED rating system to meet local requirements, different design practices and resources that they use. But in general, the result will essentially be the same. The building picture here is Taipei 101, which is the largest and tallest LEED platinum building in the world, and that is current as of 2015. LEED leadership. So the leadership in energy and environmental design, which is LEED, is an internationally recognized green building certification system developed by the U.S. Green Building Council. LEED. I'm sorry. Developed by the U.S. Green Building Council, LEED provides building owners and operators a concise framework for identifying and implementing practical and measurable green building design, construction, operations, and maintenance solutions, improving performance across all the metrics that matter the most, right? So you get energy savings, water efficiency, CO2 emission reductions, improved indoor air quality again, sensitivity to their, and just really just sensitivity to any of the impacts to natural resources. LEED is flexible enough to apply to all building types, commercial as well as residential. It works throughout the building life cycle. So we go from design and construction to operations and maintenance to tenant fit out, and then to a retrofit if it's needed down the road. LEED provides a point system to score green building design and construction. The system is categorized in 5 basic areas. So we have sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, and indoor environmental quality. Excuse me. Buildings are awarded points based on their various sustainable strategies that are achieved. The more points awarded, the higher the level of the certification. So you can go from certified to silver to gold, and currently the highest ranking would be platinum. LEED certifications, which will be the focus of this article, are designed to in accordance to the rating system for the sustainability of the design, construction, maintenance, and operations of the building, right? So if you're looking at the screen, you can see that they have different types of identifications for that. The B, D plus C is an example there, right? So that's going to be the building design and construction, right? Then you have the interior design and construction, you have the building operations and maintenance, the neighborhood development, or the ND there, and then you also have homes. There's no abbreviation for the homes. LEED is definitely a better rating system. After authoring a rating system, it goes through a lengthy and field piloted refinement prior to the official launch. Once launched, then it will continually update and be improved upon throughout the time that it's existing. There are ongoing improvements to the rating systems, and since its first launch in 2000, there's been 3 significant release versions. The most recent was the LEED V4. Becomes the only eligible version for projects registered after October 31st of 2016. The LEED certification levels remain the same as they've been since 2005, which again is the silver, the certified, the silver, the gold, and the platinum. LEED V4 was made mandatory for LEED projects registered as of midnight on November 1st in 2016. LEED V4 is very different than its predecessor, which was the LEED 2009, which required an almost unimaginable amount of transition work for any for many in design, construction, and construction materials manufacturing industries. I don't really have enough time here to discuss all the changes and differences between the 2 rating systems, but we will address a couple of those further on in the presentation. There's 8 different categories. The 8 different categories are location and transportation, sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, indoor environmental equality, quality, innovation, and regional priority. So there's 110 available credits to choose from when determining which LEED level the project is actually going to achieve, whether it be certified, silver, gold, or platinum. Let me think here. So by participating in LEED, owners, operators, designers, and builders make a meaningful contribution to the green industry, to the green building industry. By documenting and tracking the building's resource use, they contribute to a growing body of knowledge that will advance the research in this field and improve the system over time. We've already talked about lower operating costs, energy and water conservation, the health of building occupants, and the financial incentives there. However, there are other benefits as well. So, like, recycling the waste or scrap of the building materials means less waste going into landfills. It also helps support the recycling industry, which promotes the development of newer and more efficient recycling technologies. So we're helping that industry out as well too. Another impact of lowering energy use is the fact that less electrical use means a demand for power from electrical generating facilities goes down, and therefore we have lower greenhouse gas emissions. This helps air pollution, lessen the impact of these that gaze upon the ozone layer, and generally lowers the impact of these emissions on global warming as well. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. So the major changes from LEED v 2009. One in particular that I'll really call out is the transparency, right? It's a big buzzword there. Transparency looks for the full and complete disclosure of all material ingredients, showing associated hazards, environmental impacts, and VOC data. While the request for transparency implies full disclosure of chemicals and any associated materials, it is possible to disclose the hazards without divulging the raw material names. So we can protect the proprietary information and intellectual property of these manufacturers that way. The ability to provide hazards associated with chemicals or raw materials while maintaining the integrity is important to the manufacturers and to the construction materials industry. Without this ability, it would be impossible for suppliers to perform buy-ins that would have been, or I'm sorry, without the ability to buy in from suppliers would have been greatly reduced. And in fact, outside of the realm of possibility, there would have been probably no buy-ins from manufacturers at all. The another point here on the screen right here is the low emitting materials that has been changed now includes VOC emissions along with VOC content. So that was a big change too. The credits listed here are the main ones which tile can contribute. The credits are the major ones with information, while others would have required testing or work on site to make sure that the compliance is achieved. We'll look at these credits real briefly now on the next slide. Tile and tile installation products have great option as the finished materials for this credit in particular, which is the option 4, because it actually has a stated life cycle of 60 years, which happens to be the same time span which option 4 of this credit uses. This means that the tile doesn't have to be replaced for a 60-year span, which minimizes the impact of life over the building. The credit takes into account the harvest, the extraction, the manufacturing, and the transportation of materials during the building life cycle assessment. While other flooring and wall finishes will have to be replaced in a 60-year span, tile will not, thus minimizing their overall impact on the environment during the life of this building. A life cycle assessment looks at the entire life cycle of the building and building components, and then provides a quantitative information in several key environmental impact categories, including global warming potential, depletion of the ozone layer, formation of the tropospheric ozone, and depletion of the non-renewable energy sources. Resources. The best fit for tile is option 4 of this credit. The credit requires a 10% reduction in global warming potential and a 10% reduction in at least 2 of the 5 categories without increasing any by more than 5%. The life cycle assessment performed must be a cradle to grave, so gathering proper information for all of its components is critical. Building product disclosure and optimization environmental products declaration is a new credit for the LEED V4. It is an EPD, is a comprehensive, globally harmonized, and independently verified report created for a product manufacturer or manufacturers with documents that impact on the environment. On the environment throughout its life cycle. Information on these impacts on the environment include raw material acquisition, energy use, energy efficiency, content of materials, chemical substances, emissions to the air, soil and water, as well as waste generation from the cradle to the grave and other standard time references. The EPDs are created and diversified in accordance with ISO 14025 and are based on a life cycle assessment according to ISO 14040 and ISO 14044. So the intent of the EPD is simply to provide transparent information on the life cycle impact of the product over a designated time span. Ceramic tile, actually made in the United States, made by 11 different manufacturers, has done the necessary work and gone through the steps to create an industry-wide EPD, which requires a life cycle assessment from each tile manufacturing company involved in the EPD. So the EPD from each of the company are then combined to create an industry average, which is reported to the industry-wide EPD. 10 tile installation manufacturers also went through, so now we're talking about the installation manufacturers, like the actual building materials, also went through the necessary processes for creating an industry-wide EPD for cement-based adhesive mortars and for tile installation, as well as cement-based grout for tile installation. The life cycle assessments for each of these tile installation are based on a lifespan of 60 years, which ties very nicely with the requirements for the building life cycle impact reduction. Building product disclosure. Oh, let's see here. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was reading the same screen twice. The building product disclosure and optimization sourcing of raw materials is a new credit, which is absorbed by existing credits from the LEED 2009. Then you have the MR credit recycled content, the MR credit rapidly renewable materials, the MR credit for excuse me, resource reused materials, and the MR credit regional materials. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to focus on the slide on recycled content and regional materials, since the other two don't really apply in this discussion. So you have option 1 requires using at least 20 different permanently installed products from 5 different manufacturers that have released a report from the raw material suppliers, which include extraction locations, a commitment to a long-term ecologically responsible use of the land, a commitment to the meeting applicable standards or programs that voluntarily that address responsible sourcing criteria. Option 2, you have the recycled content the recycled content can be used, and this recycled content can be used in both manufacturing of some tile and in the manufacturing of some tile installation materials. Recycled content is measured for the purposes of calculation based on post-consumer plus half pre-consumer content and is based on cost. Products meeting recycled content criteria are valued at 100% of their cost for credit achievement calculations. For products which comply with option 2, any material source within 100 miles of the project are valued at 200% of their contributing cost. Okay. The intent of the EQ credit, low emitting materials, is to reduce the concentrations of chemical contaminants that can damage air quality, human health, productivity, and the environment. This new credit combines 4 credits from LEED 2009 into one, and now includes the VOC emissions reporting requirements, which we were talking about earlier. VOC content has as before, uses South Coast Air Quality Management District Rule 1168 for tile adhesives, subfloor adhesives, sealants, sealant primers, other categories for determination of maximum acceptance VOC content levels. VOC emissions require testing to the California Department of Public Health standard method V1.2, and must be reported showing the range of total VOC emissions after 14 days as specified by the California Department of Health. It's important to note that products which are UL Green Guard Gold certified are tested in accordance with the California Department of Health. The intent of the MR credit construction waste and demolition waste management is to reduce the construction and demolition waste disposed of in landfills and facilities by recovering, reusing, and recycling waste materials. This credit has been added to the LEED, or from LEED 2009, and or I'm sorry, to add a waste to energy components. Sorry, I had to get that out there, where combustible waste is diverted to facilities where the waste is actually burned and the energy is used to generate electricity. So this option for waste to energy can only be used if there are no other viable options for recycling or reusing the materials. Packaging materials used for tile and installation materials, which can be recycled, include the corrugated cardboard, plastic bags, plastic buckets, and wood. So where the tile industry can make a contribution to this credit is the use of materials which come from recyclable packaging. For instance, tile typically comes from tile typically comes in corrugated cardboard boxes, which is recyclable, and some tile installation materials comes in bags, buckets, and containers, which are recyclable and should be diverted to the appropriate waste stream. There are two options to achieve this credit. So one, divert a percentage of the waste to 3 or 4 different material streams and reduce the total waste of material in the streams calculated by weight per square foot. So while the materials themselves are heavy and the packaging that tile and installation materials come in may be recyclable, and they are typically light in weight. While the total combustion to achieving this credit may not be huge, they are certainly available. There are 2 additional credits for which the tile may play an active role in achieving as well. Indoor air quality assessment, option 2, air testing, because tile and most tile installation materials have acceptable VOC content and no appreciable levels of the other classified contaminants. So there's, no formaldehyde, no plastic particles, no target chemicals listed by the California Department of Health there. No carbon monoxide, for example. The intent of the credit is to establish better air quality indoor air quality after construction and during occupancy as well. The second credit, the construction indoor air quality management plan, is intended to promote the well-being of construction workers and the building occupants by minimizing indoor air quality problems associated with construction and renovation. So since tile and the majority of the installation materials are low emitting and low VOC content, these materials can help contribute to achievement of this credit. The fact that the tile and tile installation materials are essentially no or low VOC emitting means that the impact on these would be 0. And on assessment, they would be negligible on the assessment for the air quality plan. So in fact, that right there means the building should do no better in these categories when compared to other finished materials. The Living Building Challenge, this was created by the Living Future Institute in 2006, and it was launched by the Cascadia Green Building Council. In 2011, the Living Building Institute was renamed the International Living Future Institute. So the LBC is the world's largest, the world's most rigorous proven performance standard buildings. It's designed to create buildings that are regenerative spaces that connect building occupants to light, air, food, nature, and community, and then the self-sufficient and remain within the resource limits on their site. They produce more electricity than they actually use, and they collect and treat water on site as well too. They create a positive impact on the human and natural systems that interact with them. They must be the LBC structures are designed and built to last for 100 years or more. So, and then number 5, they have to be healthy and beautiful. Essentially, buildings constructed to the standard give more than they actually take. The LBC is organized into 7 performance areas, which are based on the metaphor of a flower. They're called the petals. Each petal has a number that is detailed requirement to which they basically to the area that they claim. There are 20 different, hang on one second, I'm sorry. We actually just want to stick to the 7 performance areas there. The living buildings are among the healthiest and most efficient in the world. They are resilient, self-sufficient structures that provide energy, security, and holistic solutions to common concerns and problems. So the 7 petals that we were just talking about on the last slide, the 7 petals of the LBC flower are the place, the water, the energy, the health, and the happiness, the materials, the equity, and the beauty. So in these petals, there's a total of 20 imperatives that are shown on the slide. In the interest of saving time, we'll just focus on the petals that affect the tile industry. For the tile and stone, resinous flooring, sealers, surface preparation, concrete repair, and other manufacturers, the material petal is the primary focus. In these categories, the LBC Red List V3 is one of the utmost importance, which we're going to talk about next. In the material petal of the LBC and the red list is refers to the chemicals and materials which are banned from use from the LBC projects. In the current version, the V3.1, it lists over 800 chemicals that are actually banned for use in LBC buildings at any concentration level. That also states the allowable VOCs. It also states the allowable VOC levels for the product used in the buildings. So this list is shown in the slide, designates the categories of chemicals which are banned from the LBC buildings, but there can be many other chemicals under these actual categories themselves. So the second part of the materials petal is the responsible industry. This is imperative. Advocates the creation of the adoption of the third-party certified standards for sustainable resource extraction and fair labor prices. This applies to like raw materials like stone, rock, metal, minerals, and timber. This can affect both the tile and the tile installation raw material suppliers and the extraction and processing practices. So for instance, the dimensional stone quarries manufacturers may need to be certified under the Natural Stone Council 373 standard. Health product declarations are a key piece of the information provided to an LBC project. So as stated earlier, the HPDs state that the hazards associated with the raw materials and their components, as well as many other raw materials which go into the product by name and CAS number. If the HPD states that the actual chemical or trade name of each of the components by name, and the list confirms that there are no red list materials present, then the HPD will suffice as proof that the product is a red list free material. However, to protect the product formulations and proprietary ingredients, it is allowable for the HPD not to disclose the name and the CAS number, as long as the CAS number is not used to generate any associated hazards with the project. The HPC does not disclose the component name and the CAS number, then the additional documentation is required stating that the product is a red list material free item. So the declare label states where the product comes from and where it's made of, or I'm sorry, and what it's made of and where it goes at the end of its life. So declare requires 100% transparency for all products, which will bear the label and the states any chemicals or materials on the red list or on the US EPA chemical of concern list. The declare label can be used as a documentation or fulfillment of the imperatives 8, 10, 12, 13, and 14. All the LBC projects must use at minimum one declare product for every 500 square meters of gross building area. Sorry. While the LBC registered and certified buildings is low compared to LEED, there's no doubt that they're gaining traction due to the high achieving building constructed to the LBC standards. Over the past few years, there's been an effort by the Tile Council of North America, the TCNA, tile manufacturers, and tile installation material manufacturers to provide transparent information for green construction systems. So the TCNA has been on the forefront of this effort, recognizing that other finished materials like carpet, hardwood, paint, and vinyl have been taking the necessary steps to provide information necessary to provide their products in green construction. The TCNA worked with the tile manufacturers to develop the industry-wide EPD for tile, and then turned around and worked with the tile installation materials to develop an industry-wide EPD for their cement-based mortars and grouts, which we were talking about in the earlier slides. There's one manufacturer who participated with the development of the industry-wide EPDS, who went a step further and not only developed product-specific Type 3 environmental product declarations, but also added a product-specific Type 3 environmental product declaration for cement-based self-leveling underlayments. So if you'd like to find more about who that manufacturer was, then you can feel free to reach out to Mitch Hawkins. His email address is wmhawkins@laticrete.com. And you can reach out to them after this presentation is concluded. As responsible companies, we must all work to provide a transparent information through every means necessary to make sure that the goals of the green building system providers are attained and that the green construction continues to grow. Tile is a great attractive option for green buildings, and the benefits of using tile outweigh the benefits of other finish types. It's up to us as an industry to educate the design professionals and building owners, general contractors, and everyone else who's involved in the construction buildings and constructing of these buildings, and eventually those who maintain the buildings, that tile is the best choice for not only for now, but in the future. Not only must we educate them, but we must also learn as new green construction systems are added and changes occur to the existing systems. So as an industry, we have to be ready and able to adapt so that we gain more market share and improve the quality of buildings. There's no doubt about it. The green construction is fastly becoming the standard to which all buildings will have to comply within both new construction and remodels. The government has placed strategies and timelines in place for all projects to meet very specific goals. So both LEED and the LBC are leading the way by providing demanding but achievable standards for building to comply with and provide benefits for the environment and for the inhabitants of the structures. The tile and tile installation material manufacturers are teaming up to make sure that the information which they provide is as transparent as possible to make credit achievement easier and faster when using these products. As always, the best way to know and understand the standards and the standards requirements is to stay in touch with manufacturers who provide the critical information for the LEED credit achievement or the LBC Petals and imperative compliance. In the end, everyone will benefit, including the environment itself. So I'd like to thank you for your time today. Now that the CEU portion of the presentation is completed, I would like to take a quick moment to talk with you about the qualified labor in the tile and stone industry. You all come to me expecting the best results in products and services, but those quality goods deserve to be installed with high quality labor as well too. So many of you are familiar with the TCNA handbook and utilize it as you go there for your methods and your standards. But the TCNA handbook urges design professionals to include language in specifications to secure qualified contractors and installers. So on the screen, I have it listed, nonprofit programs that are well established and recognized by the handbook committee. On the screen is also a copy of the newly updated 2018, the master spec language. So as you will see it, it gives your customer many options of qualified labor resources so that they may be able to find the best one that fits their project. So, in the image there, it's something very, very popular in our industry is working with the National Tile Council, National NTCA, which is the National Tile Contractor Association. But obviously, when you're talking about the installer themselves, they have many different, you have the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation, you have 5-star installers, you have CTIs, which are certified tile installers that are capable of installing these products correctly and using them efficiently to meet all the green building standards. The ACT is a program that offers advanced certifications for tile installers in the posted areas. So again, that's what they're going after, is the large format tile, which is what we're using every single day. The membranes, the mud work, the showers, the gauge porcelain tile, and the different types of grouts. Here's a list of resources that you can reach out to for more information on qualified labor language. And these slides have been brought to you by efforts of the NTCA. And if you would like the copy of these qualified labor slides along with additional information handouts, please email the NTCA qualified labor at tile-assn.com. And at this time, my session is concluded. If I will be around for any questions you may have directly relating to the conversation we had today, or any type of Laticrete materials. Again, I would like to also end by saying thank you to Realstone for inviting me back. I hope to see you guys again in the next upcoming months. Please remember that Realstone is a distributor of all of the Laticrete needs based out of Michigan, but they are working on a national level with representatives around the United States. Thank you.